Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My Mk3 Supra had its battery relocated to the hatch area a few years ago, and it's been working very well. My reasons for relocating the battery are to keep it away from the engine bay heat and to move some weight to the back of the car. So in this video, I will show you how I went about with this battery relocation project. For materials, these are what I end up using: an aluminum battery box kit, out gauge and 4-gauge cables, cable lugs, battery terminals, a 200 amp fuse and fuse holder, power distribution block, and rib nuts for the battery hold downs. Tools that were used include a drill, some drill bits, a cable cutter, and then a battery lug crimping tool. I started this project by first disconnecting the battery and then removing it from the engine bay. And then going to the hatch area, you take off the carpet, then remove the plywood cover that goes over the spare tire. And then I remove this metal deck board. Then of course I went ahead and took out the old OEM spare wheel and just put it in storage, since I'm not going to be using that anymore. Now there's a few spots available for this battery relocation, but I chose this spot right behind the passenger side rear seat. This location allows me to still use the spare tire well and not cover up the fuel level sending unit, and also gives me this nice open area for a toolbox or whatnot. The battery box comes with a separate base, and this is what I use to determine location of my battery. So I use this to find my location. When I was satisfied with where the battery was situated, I marked the locations of the two hold down bolts. My plan was to use rib nuts, so I drilled 2 holes for the rib nuts, to which I will thread on the 2 battery hold downs. So these guys. But since I didn't know where the top of the gas tank was in relation to this hatch, I first carefully drilled 2 pilot holes, and I made sure that I didn't go far in or too deep. Make sure I didn't hit anything, and then inserted a probe, a wire probe, through each hole. And fortunately there was plenty of clearance to install the rib nuts and have the hold down stud poke through a little bit. The front hole had around 3 1/4 inch available space below the hole, and the rear hole had about 1 3/8 space before touching the top of the gas tank. So now that I know my hold down locations are good to go, I went ahead and drilled for the correct size holes to fit my 3/8" rib nuts. After rib nuts are installed, I threaded in the hold down studs and tightened them with lock nuts. Next, the base of the battery box was set in position and also tightened in place with washers and lock nuts. Now, since the hatch surface is not flat, I placed some trim sheets of linoleum to make it level. My next step was to run the positive and negative cables from the hatch area to the engine bay. I ran these two cables underneath the rear seat, then under the carpet below the driver's seat. So there's a hole through the carpet where the OEM wiring for the power seats goes through, and that's what I use to penetrate the carpet going under the driver's seat. So the cables are underneath the carpet, running along this area right here, going all the way to the right side of the driver's footwell. So there's the two cables right there. Okay, at the driver's footwell, I drilled a hole through the firewall just above the dead pedal. And that's where I routed the positive cable. For the negative cable, I routed it through a harness plug. It is hard to see from the driver's footwell, but it does come out of the inside of the left fender. The hood release cable also goes through this harness plug. Let me see if I can get a good shot of this. Like I said, it's kind of hard to see. Okay, both cables now come out into the inside of the left fender. The positive cable coming through the firewall, and the negative cable coming through the harness plug right here. And here's the cable for the hood release right next to it. And as soon as they come out, I put a zip tie for the positive cable onto one of the fender supports before it goes into the inside of the engine bay. There's an existing plastic grommet here that's available, so both cables go through the plastic grommet into the engine bay. Okay, at the engine bay, here we see both cables coming through the plastic grommet, and the positive going here to my power distribution block, and then the negative cable is gonna go over and bolt into the engine block. So with both cables routed, I trimmed my cables to the lengths I wanted, trimmed my lugs in place, and connected them to the battery terminals. A 200 amp inline fuse was installed on the positive cable close to the battery. You can pick up a fuse holder from Amazon, or make your own like I did. I made an extra body ground using 4-gauge wire or 4-gauge cable. And right here. And the connection here was an existing bolt that used to hold down the metal deck board. Okay, another thing that was added is a power distribution block. These are available from Amazon, or you can make your own. Adding a power distribution block simplifies connecting to the battery. It's easy to reconnect the power cable to the starter or the alternator. My electric fan and its relays and controllers are all connected to my distribution block. And I think that's pretty much it. This battery relocation has been trouble-free since I finished it a few years back. My battery has stayed charged, my electrical system hasn't had any glitches, and it didn't cost an arm and a leg. So feel free to comment if you're planning a battery relocation on your Mk3 Supra. Thanks for watching.